Is your teenager's rebellion wearing you down? Does every conversation feel like you're speaking different languages? Or worse, like you're in an endless tug of war? You're not alone. Many parents find themselves at a loss when faced with a teen who seems to reject every piece of advice or guidance. But what if I told you that the key to dealing with a rebellious teenager lies in how you structure your communication? I'm Andy Earle. After years as a psychology researcher studying adolescent behavior, I now host the Talking to Teens podcast, where I interview leading experts every week about the art and science of communicating with teens. In this video, we're going to explore a powerful technique called the insight chain, which can help you turn fragmented arguments into a cohesive journey. But first, let's understand why traditional approaches to dealing with a rebellious teenager often fall short. When it comes to dealing with teenage rebellion, here's something that might blow your mind. The harder you try to control it, the stronger it becomes. It's like trying to grip sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. Think about it. When teenagers rebel, our first instinct is to add more rules, more consequences, more control. But research shows this actually intensifies rebellious behavior. Why? Because rebellion isn't really about breaking rules, it's about asserting independence and finding identity. This is especially true today when teenagers face unprecedented pressure to conform not just to parental expectations, but to social media standards and societal demands. Sometimes rebellion is their way of saying, I need to figure out who I am. Now that we understand why controlling rebellion only makes it stronger, let's look at another common mistake parents make when dealing with defiant teens. Want to know why most parents struggle with rebellious teens? They fall into what I call the whack-a-mole trap. One day, you're dealing with their defiant attitude about screen time. The next, it's their resistance to family events. Then, it's their rebellious friend group. Each issue feels like a separate battle. Whack, whack, whack. And you find yourself constantly putting out fires without ever addressing the underlying cause. It's exhausting, and worse, it's ineffective. Because while you're focused on their individual behaviors, you're missing the bigger story your teen is trying to tell. This fragmented approach not only drains your energy, it prevents your teen from seeing the connections between their choices and the life they want to create. So we've seen how treating each rebellious act as a separate battle leads to exhaustion and ineffectiveness. Now, let's explore a technique for seeing the bigger picture in your teen's behavior. Here's a powerful secret for dealing with a rebellious teenager. Stop treating each defiant act as an isolated incident and start looking for the story they're trying to tell. For example, if your teen is rebelling against team sports, instead of focusing on the importance of physical activity, explore what this resistance represents. Are they pushing back against structured authority, seeking more creative forms of expression? Research shows that when teens can see their actions as part of a larger narrative about identity and growth, they're more likely to make conscious choices rather than just reactive ones. By helping them weave these connections, you transform random acts of rebellion into meaningful steps on their journey of self-discovery. So we've learned why rebellion isn't always what it seems, why fragmented responses don't work, and how to start weaving your teen's actions into a meaningful story. But how do we help our teens see these connections? That's where the next technique comes in. Want to know one of the most powerful ways to deal with a rebellious teenager? It's called signposting, and it's about helping them see the bigger picture of their behavior. Research shows teens are more likely to shift their perspective when they can see how different ideas connect. Try something like this. Okay, so we've talked about how you feel trapped by family expectations, and then you shared how you feel freedom in your music. That makes me think about how rebellion isn't really about breaking rules, it's about finding your voice. This kind of explicit connection making helps your teens see how different pieces of understanding fit together into a meaningful story. Now that we understand how to help teens see connections between their experiences, let's explore how to find the deeper patterns in their behavior. If you're dealing with a rebellious teenager, here's a technique that can completely change how you see their behavior. It's called thematic threading, spotting the patterns that make their seemingly random acts of rebellion make sense. If your teen is pushing back against structured activities, instead of fighting each battle separately, try this. I'm noticing something interesting. Whether it's team sports, group projects, or family gatherings, you seem to thrive more in situations where you have autonomy. That same pattern shows up in how you approach your music, your study habits, even your friendships. Research shows that when teens can recognize these larger patterns in their behavior, they're more likely to make conscious choices instead of just reacting. We've explored how to spot patterns in rebellious behavior, but sometimes the most powerful insights come from drawing unexpected connections. Here's a surprising way to connect with a rebellious teenager. Draw unexpected parallels between their rebellion and situations they care about. Studies show that novel comparisons actually increase understanding and empathy. Take that skateboarding trick they've been perfecting. Instead of another argument about academics, try this. You know what's fascinating? When you were learning that new trick last week, you created your own learning system. You broke down the move, filmed yourself, and analyzed your technique. That's exactly what great learners do in any field. This kind of unexpected parallel helps them see their capabilities in a new light while honoring their interests. It turns rebellion into a doorway for deeper understanding. So we've looked at how surprising comparisons can open new perspectives, but what if your team is still strongly resistant? There's a counterintuitive approach that often works when nothing else does. Sometimes the best way to reduce your teenager's rebellion is to validate the emotions behind it. Research shows that teens whose parents validate their feelings while maintaining boundaries show significantly less problematic behavior over time. This doesn't mean approving of rebellious behavior. It means acknowledging the legitimate feelings driving it. For example, if your teen is pushing back against a family career tradition, try, I see how passionate you are about forging your own path. That takes real courage. Let's talk about how you can honor both your independence and our family's legacy. By validating their underlying needs, you often find the rebellion itself starts to soften. Now that we know how to validate feelings without endorsing behavior, let's look at how to turn these new insights into real change. Here's the final piece in dealing with a rebellious teenager, helping them turn insights into action. Psychology research shows that breakthroughs are most powerful when they're immediately connected to concrete behavior changes. For instance, if your teen has been rebelling against group activities and through your conversations they've realized they prefer individual challenges, help them find ways to act on this insight. This might mean exploring solo sports, independent creative projects, or leadership roles where they can maintain their autonomy while still connecting with others. These resolution moments transform understanding into positive change. Dealing with a rebellious teenager doesn't have to be an endless power struggle. By using the insight chain method, weaving their story, spotting patterns, drawing parallels, validating feelings, and creating resolution moments, you can transform rebellion into growth. Remember, your teen's rebellion isn't just about breaking rules. It's about breaking through to a deeper understanding of who they are and who they want to become. If you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe to our channel for more science-backed strategies to communicate with your teen more effectively.